Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, on this episode of Bullet Points, as you guys know, we always dive into opinion pieces, and today is no different. However, I'm getting the sensation that the left is starting to get frustrated and realize that the gun control pushes and gun control desires that they want aren't necessarily feasible. And this article is in the New York Times. This is a very high-level leftist source. And it kind of undermines the gun control argument and does something that we've been saying for years on the gun rights side of the argument. Focus on the individual, the behaviors, and the warning signs, and we can get that person help. It's not the problem of the inanimate object, it's the individual. And they hit on this. Now, this is not right-wing conspirators in the New York Times. This is people that write for Salon and Mother Jones. We're talking left, okay? But let me know what you guys think. It'll be linked in the description box below. I want to hear from you guys on this one, but let's get it. We may be able to prevent some mass shootings. Now, that's the opinion article, again, New York Times from yesterday. Sometime over the past decade, America seems to have resigned itself to thinking about mass shootings as if they were kind of unavoidable natural disaster. Now, give it a second. Listen how it develops. Like tornadoes or earthquakes, these localized catastrophes seem to come out of nowhere and could happen to any of us. They are quite rare, depending on how one defines a mass shooting. Okay, so there's two things there. Yes, they are quite rare, and this is in the New York Times. So, whoa, why are you saying it's quite rare? This is supposed to be your bread and butter on gun control. Because it is quite rare. And also, this other piece, depending on how one defines a mass shooting. Because if you go from the gun violence archive definition, it's anytime 3 or more people are shot, no matter what the circumstances are. Crime, guns, drugs, we hit it all the time on this channel. There are a handful to a few hundred in the United States every year. Again, difference of definition. Yet even though they are estimated to be the cause of less than 1% of all gun fatalities, completely true, mass shootings carry a toll that surpasses their numbers, undermining our collective sense of well-being and public safety. The fear always lurks that the next big one is always just around the corner. Now, this is where it gets really interesting around behaviors versus inanimate objects. But in a fascinating new book, Trigger Points, Inside the Mission to Stop Mass Shootings in America, the journalist Mark Fullman makes the case that despite our intractable political and cultural differences, these situations don't have to be inevitable. They don't have to be inevitable. But the answer is not gun control, as this article is building into, right? So this is really rare to see this in the left. And Fullman, this guy's far left, okay? Fullman argues that even in the absence of stronger gun regulations, we have been making progress in understanding and perhaps even preventing the most notable forms of mass shootings, rampages in which 3 or more people are often deliberately or seemingly indiscriminately killed, often by a lone attacker. So they're saying these are rare. They're saying it doesn't have to be this way. We're making progress. Is it sounding like a typical gun control article to you? No, it is not. And again, this is not a right-wing person. All right, let's keep going. Fullman explores the history and promise of cross-disciplinary field known as behavioral threat assessment, a set of ideas to help officials recognize and redirect a potential shooter away from the violence. Now, this is focusing on behaviors, on warning signs. If you want to look in an everyday modern example, this would be like the kid in Michigan, I think it's Michigan, where he was drawing really dark things and had access to firearms and was doing really messed up stuff that someone could have been like, red flag? Yeah, I know. I use red flag on purpose because it's not the answer of laws. It's the answer of focusing on behavioral issues. It's really important. Let's keep going. At the core of the model is the notion that mass shootings are not like lightning strikes. They are not just sudden, unforeseen attacks involving people who snap. Mass shootings are more like avalanches. They take time to form, they generally follow a predictable pattern, and if you know what to look for, you can sometimes spot them a long way off and perhaps even prevent them from happening at all by focusing on the behaviors of the individuals in question, not the inanimate objects. When you focus on an inanimate object, nothing changes because you're just inhibiting rights to this inanimate object. It's magnifying the person. This is really, really important and key, something we've been saying forever, okay? To stop a person from doing this to others, these teams look for patterns of behavior that research has shown tend to exhibit on their way to a mass attack. Now, again, I want to reiterate at this point, this is not me advocating for behavioral studies and restriction of rights. This is me advocating for, hey, if someone needs help and it's pretty obvious and the warning signs are there, let's help them out. A little bit different than just immediately jumping to the snap decision of everyone's guns are mine. Behavioral threat assessment in no way obviates the need for better gun control laws. See, I told you they were lefties. Just the opposite. Stricter gun rules could aid assessment teams in keeping guns away from the people exhibiting dangerous patterns of behavior, not to mention addressing the tens of thousands of other lives lost to guns every year. So that's your, I have to say it because I'm on the left, but the point here is this article is focusing on behaviors, not focusing on gun control. And that's a really important distinction in a New York Times article. Let me keep going. And there's a lot of other states that are doing this as well. Like I said, read the article. Behavioral threat assessment, I already did that one. Sorry. But behavioral threat assessment does move the discussion about mass shootings beyond the gun debate. Beyond the gun debate. It is a pragmatic recognition of the world we live in, a world in which we're unlikely to get tougher gun laws anytime soon, which is interesting because they're fully Democratic controlled, and where even if we did, we'd still have an estimated hundreds of millions of guns floating around. That's interesting. So you're resigning the idea that guns are a part of our lives because they are imbued in our rights. So you have to find a way to address the issue, and that issue is the person, not the inanimate object. And that's why I wanted to bring this article to you, because it's very interesting to find it in a left-leaning piece from New York Times, the land of the left. Let me know what you guys think of this episode of Bullet Points, and I'll see you tonight at the 9 p.m. segment. I'm Braden. See you later.